Hello, Taurus. Come sit with me because what I'm seeing in your energy right now is absolutely incredible. I just shuffled my deck and the cards are practically jumping out to tell your story. There's this whole narrative unfolding about someone in your life who has been throwing everything they can at you, and honestly, the way you're handling it is making me emotional in the best way possible. Before we even dive into the cards, I need to tell you what I'm feeling in your energy field right now. There's this shift that's happened recently, like you've stepped into a completely different version of yourself. Someone has been trying so hard to break you, to diminish you, to make you question everything about yourself. But instead of crumbling like they expected, you've been transforming. It's like they've been trying to burn you down, but you've been using their fire to forge yourself into something stronger. So I'm pulling cards for you right now, and the first one that literally flew out of my deck is the Seven of Wands. Now, normally people expect this card when talking about defending yourself, but what I'm seeing here is so much deeper. This isn't just about you standing your ground, Taurus. This is about you discovering a strength you didn't even know you had. The figure in this card is positioned higher than everyone else trying to challenge them, and that's exactly where you are right now. You've found your footing on higher ground, both literally and metaphysically. What's fascinating about this Seven of Wands showing up first is that it's telling me this person who's been targeting you, they're actually below you energetically. They're trying to climb up to where you are, but they can't reach you. Every attack, every manipulation, every attempt to bring you down is actually just showing the universe how much higher you've risen. And Taurus, your earth sign energy, is what's keeping you so grounded and stable up there. I keep getting this image of someone throwing things upward at you, but gravity keeps bringing it all back down to them. The swords they're throwing, metaphorically speaking, they're not even reaching you anymore. You've transcended that level of consciousness where their negativity could actually touch you. It's like you're standing on this mountain peak and they're down in the valley throwing rocks that can't even come close to where you are. The interesting thing about this Seven of Wands is that the person defending themselves looks almost surprised at their own strength. That's you right now, Taurus. You're surprising yourself with how well you're handling this situation. Maybe you thought you'd fall apart. Maybe you thought you couldn't survive without their approval or presence, but here you are, not just surviving, but absolutely thriving. This card is also showing me that your defense isn't aggressive or angry. You're not fighting them with the same toxic energy they're using against you. Instead, you're defending yourself with dignity, with grace, with this quiet confidence that's honestly more powerful than any weapon they could use against you. Your strength is in your stability, your power is in your peace, and they absolutely cannot stand it. The next card that's coming through is the Knight of Cups, and this one is making me pause because it's not what you'd expect in a reading about conflict and opposition. But here's what's beautiful about this knight. He's riding forward with such calm determination. He's not charging in aggressively like the Knight of Swords would. He's moving forward with emotional intelligence and grace. That's you right now, Taurus. You're not fighting fire with fire. You're responding to their chaos with emotional maturity. This Knight of Cups is telling me that while they're crying and throwing their tantrums, you're moving forward with your cup of emotional fulfillment still intact. You haven't let them spill your joy. You haven't let them contaminate your peace. The Knight's horse is moving at this steady, purposeful pace, and that's your Taurus energy channeling through. You're not rushing to respond to their drama. You're not giving them the emotional reaction they're desperately trying to get from you. What I find so powerful about this Knight appearing here is that cups represent emotions and intuition. And you're using your emotional intelligence as your weapon right now. They expected you to break down. They expected you to fight back with the same low vibrational energy they're throwing at you. But instead, you're responding from this place of emotional sovereignty that's honestly inspiring. The cup this Knight holds contains something precious, something pure. And that's what you've been protecting throughout all of this conflict. Your inner peace, your self-worth, your capacity for joy, your ability to love yourself, these are the treasures you've been safeguarding. And the fact that you've managed to keep your cup full despite all their attempts to drain you, that's not just impressive, that's miraculous. I'm also getting that this Knight of Cups represents a new way of being in relationships for you. Before, maybe you would have poured your entire cup out trying to fix someone who was determined to stay broken. Maybe you would have exhausted yourself trying to love someone into loving you back properly. But this night shows me you've learned to move forward while keeping your emotional resources intact. The third card that's coming through is really surprising me, and it's the Four of Pentacles. Now, usually this card talks about holding on too tightly to material things, but in your situation, it's showing me something completely different. You're holding on tightly to your own energy, your own resources, your own peace. You've learned the value of not giving everyone access to your emotional bank account. This Four of Pentacles is showing me that you've become very selective about where you invest your energy. The person who's been attacking you, they used to be able to drain you. They used to be able to get these big emotional responses from you that would feed their chaos addiction. But now you're sitting on your throne, holding your pentacles close, being very strategic about where your energy goes. What I love about this card in your reading is that it's showing me you've learned the difference between being stingy with love and being wise with your energy. You're not closing your heart, but you are closing the door to people who don't deserve access to your inner world. The figure in this card has this calm, controlled expression, and that's exactly the energy you're embodying right now. They're crying because they can't get to you anymore. They're crying because their manipulation tactics aren't working. They're crying because you've built these healthy boundaries that they can't penetrate. And honestly, Taurus, good for you. This Four of Pentacles is your graduation certificate from the school of letting toxic people steal your energy. The figure in this card is also sitting very securely in their own space. They're not leaning forward trying to please others. They're not bending backwards to accommodate unreasonable demands. They're sitting firmly in their own power. That's the energy you've stepped into. You've learned to be comfortable taking up space, comfortable saying no, comfortable disappointing people who had unrealistic expectations of you. This card is also telling me about the material security you're creating for yourself. While they're trying to destabilize you emotionally, you're building something solid and lasting in your real world. Maybe it's your career, maybe it's your living situation, maybe it's your financial independence, but you're creating a foundation that doesn't depend on their approval or participation. The fourth card that's coming through is the Queen of Swords, and oh my goodness, this is making so much sense. This queen sits on her throne with such clarity and mental sharpness. She's been through the storms, she's experienced loss and betrayal, but she's emerged with this incredible ability to see through nonsense. That's where you are right now, Taurus. This Queen of Swords energy you're channeling is cutting through their lies, their manipulation, their fake tears with such precision. You're not falling for the victim act anymore. You're not buying into their stories about how you're the problem. You've developed this crystal clear vision that sees their patterns, their tactics, their desperate attempts to make you doubt yourself. What's powerful about this queen is that she's not cruel or vindictive. She's just honest. She speaks truth without apology, and she doesn't waste time trying to convince people who are committed to misunderstanding her. When they throw their 1,001 swords at you, this queen energy in you just deflects them with facts, with boundaries, with unwavering clarity about who you are and what you deserve. The sword she holds up points toward heaven, which tells me you're connected to higher wisdom right now. You're not operating from ego or revenge. You're operating from this elevated perspective that sees the bigger picture. They can't understand how you're so calm in the face of their storms, but it's because you've tapped into this higher frequency of consciousness. This queen has also learned to communicate with absolute clarity. No more walking on eggshells, no more sugarcoating truth to make it easier for them to swallow, no more apologizing for having boundaries. When you speak now, it's with this clear, direct energy that leaves no room for misinterpretation. They can't twist your words anymore because you're speaking with such precision. The butterflies around this queen's throne represent transformation through difficult experiences. Every attack they've launched at you has actually helped you develop this razor-sharp discernment. You can spot manipulation from a mile away now. You can recognize gaslighting in its earliest stages. You can see through fake apologies and empty promises. They've actually trained you to become immune to their tactics. Now, the fifth card that's appearing is really interesting, and it's the Three of Cups, which might seem odd in a reading about someone being hostile toward you. But here's what this card is showing me. While they're isolated in their bitterness and jealousy, you're surrounded by genuine love and support. The three figures in this card are celebrating together, and that's the energy that's growing in your life as you distance yourself from toxicity. This Three of Cups is telling me that their attacks on you have actually helped you identify who your real friends are. The people who believe their stories about you without hearing your side, those weren't your people anyway. But the ones who know your character, who've seen your heart, who understand your truth, those relationships are getting stronger and deeper. What I love about this card appearing here is that it's showing me you're not fighting this battle alone. While they might have their flying monkeys and their echo chamber of people who validate their victim narrative, you have something much more powerful. You have authentic connections with people who see your light and want to celebrate your growth, not tear you down. The celebration in this card also represents you celebrating yourself. You're finally recognizing your own worth. You're finally celebrating how far you've come, how much you've grown, how strong you've become. They're crying because they can see you thriving without them, and nothing makes a toxic person more upset than seeing their former victim happy and free. These three figures in the card are also raising their cups in a toast. And I feel like that's what's happening in your life right now. People who genuinely care about you are celebrating your liberation, they're toasting your strength, they're honoring your journey. And you're learning to celebrate yourself too, which is something they never wanted you to do. The energy of this card is so joyful and connected. It's showing me that as you've pulled away from their toxic influence, you've made space for relationships that actually nourish your soul. You've attracted people who appreciate your authenticity, who support your dreams, who encourage your growth instead of trying to keep you small. The sixth card that's coming through is the Eight of Swords reversed, and this is giving me chills because it's showing me your liberation so clearly. When this card appears upright, it represents feeling trapped, believing you have no options, feeling like a victim of circumstances. But reversed like this, it's showing me that you've broken free from those mental prisons they tried to build around you. For so long, they had you believing that you were stuck with their treatment of you. They had you convinced that you couldn't survive without their approval, their presence, their version of love. But this Eight of Swords reversed is showing me that you've untied those blindfolds they put on you. You can see clearly now. You can see that the prison was made of lies and manipulation, and you've walked right out of it. What's beautiful about this card is that the swords that used to trap you are still there, but they have no power over you anymore. Their words, their threats, their attempts to make you small, they're still flying around, but they can't touch you because you've shifted your entire perspective. You've realized that their opinion of you is not your reality. This reversed Eight of Swords is also showing me that you've stopped participating in your own imprisonment. You're not replaying their criticism in your head anymore. You're not second-guessing yourself based on their judgment anymore. You're not staying small to make them comfortable anymore. You've literally liberated yourself from their psychological control. The figure in this card, when reversed, is walking away from the swords, not toward them. That's exactly what you're doing. You're walking away from the mental traps, the emotional manipulation, the gaslighting, the blame shifting. You're walking toward freedom, toward peace, toward a life where you don't have to constantly defend your right to exist as you are. This liberation isn't just mental and emotional, it's spiritual too. You've reconnected with your own inner wisdom, your own intuition, your own sense of what's right and wrong. They tried to make you doubt yourself so completely that you'd always need their version of reality to navigate the world, but you've remembered that you have your own internal compass. The seventh card that's appearing is the Nine of Pentacles, and honestly, this is making me want to happy cry for you. This card represents independence, self-sufficiency, and the ability to create your own abundance. The woman in this card is in her own garden, surrounded by the fruits of her own labor, completely content in her own company. This is where you are heading, Taurus, and honestly, you might already be there. While they're crying and throwing tantrums because they can't control you anymore, you're building this beautiful life that's entirely your own creation. You're not waiting for anyone's permission to be happy. You're not seeking validation from people who were never going to give it anyway. What I love about this Nine of Pentacles energy is that it's showing me you've learned to be your own source of security, your own source of love, your own source of celebration. The bird on the woman's hand represents the freedom that comes with self-mastery. You've mastered the art of not needing toxic people to complete your story. This card is also telling me that your success, your happiness, your peace is what's driving them crazy. They can't stand seeing you do well without them. They can't stand seeing you thrive in the space they expected you to crumble. Every step forward you take in creating your own abundance is like salt in the wound of their ego. The garden in this card represents the life you're cultivating for yourself. Every boundary you set is like planting a seed of self-respect. Every time you choose yourself over their comfort is like watering those seeds. Every moment you spend building your own happiness instead of trying to fix their brokenness is like tending to your garden. This woman in the Nine of Pentacles is also dressed in beautiful robes, showing that she values herself enough to treat herself well. That's what you're learning to do, Taurus. You're learning to treat yourself with the same care and respect you've always given to others. You're learning that you deserve beautiful things, peaceful moments, loving treatment. The abundance in this card isn't just material, it's emotional and spiritual too. You're abundant in self-love, abundant in inner peace, abundant in clear boundaries, abundant in genuine friendships. They tried to create scarcity in your life, to make you believe that their crumbs of affection were all you deserved, but you've discovered your own abundance. The eighth card that's coming through is the Page of Wands, and this is showing me the new beginning that's emerging from all this conflict. Pages represent fresh starts, new perspectives, new adventures. This particular page is holding a wand and looking at it with such curiosity and excitement, like they're seeing their own power for the first time. That's you right now, Taurus. You're looking at your own strength, your own resilience, your own capability with fresh eyes. Before this conflict, maybe you didn't know how strong you were. Maybe you didn't know you could survive their worst attempts to break you. But now you're holding your own power in your hands, and you're amazed at what you're capable of. This Page of Wands is also showing me that you're ready for a new adventure. You're not staying stuck in the story of what they did to you. You're not building an identity around being their victim. You're turning the page and starting a completely new chapter where you're the hero of your own story. The energy of this page is so enthusiastic and optimistic. While they're drowning in their own bitterness and resentment, you're excited about what's possible for your life. You're ready to explore new opportunities, new relationships, new versions of yourself that aren't defined by their limited perception of who you are. The wand this page holds represents creative fire, passionate energy, the spark of new beginnings. You're feeling that spark again, Taurus. You're feeling excited about your future in a way you maybe haven't felt in a long time. Their attempts to dim your light have actually helped you appreciate how bright you can shine. This page is also looking off into the distance, not back at what's behind them. That's the energy you're embodying now. You're focused on where you're going, not where you've been. You're excited about who you're becoming, not stuck in who they said you were. You're planning your next adventure, not rehearsing old wounds. The desert landscape behind this page represents the journey through difficult times. But the page isn't focused on the barren ground. They're focused on the potential in their hands. That's exactly how you're approaching this situation. You're not denying that it was hard, but you're focusing on what you've gained from the experience. Now, the ninth card that's appearing is really powerful, and it's the Two of Swords reversed. When this card is upright, it represents being stuck between two choices, feeling paralyzed by indecision. But reversed like this, it's showing me that you've made your choice. You've chosen yourself over their approval. You've chosen peace over their chaos. You've chosen truth over their gaslighting. This Two of Swords reversed is telling me that the internal conflict is over. For a while, you were torn between wanting to believe their version of events and knowing your own truth. You were torn between wanting to keep the peace and wanting to honor your own boundaries. You were torn between loving them and loving yourself. but that inner war is finished. What I find so beautiful about this card in your reading is that it shows me you've removed the blindfold of confusion they tried to keep over your eyes. You can see the situation clearly now. You can see their patterns, their motivations, their desperate attempts to maintain control over the narrative. And most importantly, you can see your own worth clearly. The two swords that were crossed in front of the figure's heart have now been lowered. Your heart is no longer defended against love, it's just defended against their specific type of toxicity. You've learned to discern between people who deserve access to your heart and people who would use that access to hurt you. This decision you've made isn't impulsive or emotional, it's clear and final. You've weighed the evidence, you've considered all the angles, and you've concluded that your peace is more valuable than their presence. That's not cruel, that's wise. That's not giving up on love, that's choosing real love over toxic attachment. The body of water behind the figure in this card, when upright, represents the emotional turbulence they created in your life, but reversed, it shows me those waters are calming. The storm they created in your mind is settling. The chaos they brought into your life is clearing. You're finding your emotional equilibrium again. The final card that's coming through is the Ace of Pentacles, and honestly, this is the perfect card to end on, because it represents new opportunities, fresh starts in the material world, and the beginning of something stable and lasting. This ace is showing me that all of this conflict, all of their attacks, all of their attempts to bring you down have actually cleared the space for something much better to enter your life. This Ace of Pentacles represents the new foundation you're building. It's built on self-respect instead of people-pleasing. It's built on authentic connections instead of toxic attachments. It's built on your own standards instead of their impossible expectations. And because it's built on such solid ground, nothing they do can shake it. What makes me emotional about this card is that it represents the gift that's emerging from all this pain. They threw 1,001 swords at you, but each sword they threw actually helped you clear away what wasn't serving you. Each attack helped you strengthen your boundaries. Each manipulation attempt helped you develop better discernment. This ace in your hand represents opportunities that align with your true value, relationships that appreciate your authentic self, and success that comes from being exactly who you are instead of who they wanted you to be. The seed in this card is ready to be planted in soil that will actually nourish it, not drain it. The hand emerging from the cloud represents divine timing, showing me that this new beginning is blessed by the universe itself. All of their attempts to block your blessings, to sabotage your happiness, to interfere with your destiny have failed. What's meant for you will find you, no matter how many obstacles they try to put in your way. This pentacle also represents material manifestation, showing me that your emotional and spiritual growth is about to translate into real-world improvements. Maybe it's a new job opportunity, maybe it's financial abundance, maybe it's a living situation that reflects your new standards, but something tangible and valuable is coming into your life. The garden gate in the background of this card is opening, showing me that you're entering a new phase of life where you get to choose who has access to your space. You're the gatekeeper now, and you're only letting in people and opportunities that add value to your life instead of draining it. So here's what I want you to understand, Taurus. Their tears are not about you hurting them. Their tears are about losing control over you. Their anger is not about anything you've done wrong. Their anger is about you doing everything right for yourself. Their attacks are not about your flaws. Their attacks are about your strength, threatening their ability to manipulate you. You are overcoming everything they throw at you because you've learned the difference between their opinion and your truth. You are overcoming everything because you've stopped fighting their battles and started fighting for your own peace. You are overcoming everything because you've realized that their chaos doesn't have to become your emergency. The transformation I'm seeing in your energy is honestly breathtaking. You've gone from someone who is constantly defending yourself to someone who doesn't need to because you know your worth. You've gone from someone who was trying to prove your value to someone who simply embodies it. You've gone from someone who was asking for scraps of love to someone who demands the whole meal. They can't stand seeing you do well because your success is proof that their narrative about you was wrong. Your happiness is evidence that you didn't need their toxic version of love to thrive. Your peace is testimony to the fact that cutting them off was the right choice, no matter how much they try to make you feel guilty about it. What's really beautiful is that you're not just surviving their attacks. You're using them as stepping stones to become a better version of yourself. Every time they try to tear you down, you build yourself up higher. Every time they try to make you small, you expand into more of who you really are. Every time they try to dim your light, you shine brighter. The person watching this who needed to hear that they're stronger than they think, that they're more resilient than they know, that they're deserving of love, that doesn't come with conditions and manipulation, that person is you. You've already won this battle by refusing to fight it on their terms. You've already overcome by choosing to rise instead of sink to their level. Your Taurus energy is what's making this possible. Your earth sign nature gives you this incredible ability to stay grounded no matter how much chaos swirls around you. Your fixed sign quality gives you the determination to hold your boundaries no matter how much pressure they apply. Your Venus ruling gives you the wisdom to know what real love looks like versus toxic attachment. Keep walking in that Queen of Swords energy. Keep holding your boundaries like that, Four of Pentacles. Keep moving forward like that Knight of Cups, and keep celebrating yourself like that, Three of Cups. The Seven of Wands shows your strength. The Eight of Swords reversed shows your freedom. The Nine of Pentacles shows your abundance. The Page of Wands shows your new beginning. The Two of Swords reversed shows your clarity. And the Ace of Pentacles shows your blessed future. Their tears are just the sound of someone realizing they've lost their power over someone who was always meant to be free. Their attacks are just the desperate flailing of someone who can't accept that you've outgrown their small opinion of you. Their drama is just the background noise to your beautiful new life. You're not just overcoming Taurus, you're thriving. And that's what they absolutely cannot stand.